Hey, welcome back to Drewski Hot Takes. If this is your first time here, welcome, and thanks for joining with yours truly, me. Today we have a video about a teacher who has received a threat from her students on social media threatening to kill her. But without further ado, let's get into the video. But before we do that, babe, come say hi to the people so they know you're real. No, not your hand. Not your hand. No, it's okay. You still look good. There she is. I know this video about to be bomb because she kissed me on my cheek, so it's all good. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
These kids took to social media and made a threat about me and this history teacher's safety. They said on social media, and I quote, "If you don't want to get shot, don't come to school tomorrow."
I'm quitting already. If somebody told me that a student I was teaching said, if you don't want to get shot, don't come to school tomorrow, listen, y'all don't pay me enough to deal with this. Y'all don't pay me enough money to deal with this type of behavior. And I can tell by the way she's carrying herself and her demeanor that she was definitely a suburban kid and that she didn't have to fight in the streets. But without further, let's continue.
Shots fired for my last name and this coach's last name.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if you name me in a social media post, it's on site. It's on site for you and your parent. At that point, I no longer see you as a child. I see you as a threat. And so now I have to be prepared for you and your parent because it's very clear that you are raised in a high level of ignorance or you're just easily influenced by what you see on social media.
Okay, whatever. I did not have social media at the time. Sad but true. I still don't even really be on it like that, but this was now, oh my gosh, this was in 2019, 2020, okay?
Isn't that a part of your job description to kind of be situationally aware? Like, I think that's kind of weird that even in 2026 that a teacher is not on social media. Actually, let me take that back. I'm not going to say that's weird because my mom is not even on social media and she refuses to get a Facebook. So I get it. Some people like to be disconnected from the world. Howsoever, since you are a teacher and you are around young people, because you did not identify what grade level you were teaching, I would think it would be in your best interest and safety to be aware of what's going on in your city and around the world. Knowledge is power. Let's say it together, class. Knowledge is power. And I have to say, I'm just a little appalled that your situational awareness is really low to be a teacher. But let's continue.
So I didn't have social media for real. That Monday, I go to work. I don't know that this happened. So I'm in class and I am teaching, second period. And my student says to me, "Miss H, you're not scared that like those threats were made about you?" And I was,
That's crazy that you had to find out through the threat by one of your other students. Listen, if you didn't give them a resignation that day, you definitely have a heart for the children. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if one of my students came up to me and said that, hey, such and such is threatening your life and has named you on social media, and my subordinates are not there to help me or back me up or provide safety, I'm up out of there. I am gone. I truly admire what teachers do, especially because they do not get paid enough to supervise y'all bad kids. And I'm not saying that every child that walks into a school is bad, but we cannot escape the conversation that there are a lot of children that attend schools all around the world that are not well behaved. They have not received the proper training or etiquette on how to respect adults, how to carry themselves in school, let alone carry themselves in public. Look at the kids in Chicago. You have a lot of new age parents out here who are raising their children off chaos. Listen, we have to be honest, y'all. A lot of people are not being raised the way we were 20 and 30 years ago. Some are, but a lot are not.
like, what are you talking about? Well, then all of a sudden, right after they say this, there's an announcement that comes on that the school is now on a lockdown and that no one can come in, no one can go out due to a social media threat that they have chosen to take seriously. There are now police officers outside of the school, and you see them going around to the bushes with wands and everything. And then a student then says, "That's about you." And I'm like, "It's about me?" I had no idea that this was about me. So I then call the front office and I say, "Hey, are we really on a lockdown because of me?" And they were like, not that we're aware of. We're just
Not that they gaslighting you. The fact that you took the time out to reach out to your subordinates to find out what was going on, and they said the threat was not about you when you know the threat is about you is insane. That lets us know that they're only concerned about the bottom line and that this is a county school, children, or bodies in the seats help the budget. Bodies in the seats help the budget. And that's sad that they're willing to sacrifice your safety just to keep baby Pooh Shiesty in your class. That's sad.
following the principal's orders. So, okay. So I get a hold of the principal. Now, mind you, at this point, they have brought in metal detectors to my school, and they are making them go room by room to have every student go through these metal detectors.
I low-key think every school should have metal detectors at this point, especially with all the school shootings. I think every school around the U.S. should have metal detectors.
My room was called last because of where I was at the end of the hall, in the middle of the hall. My classroom was called dead last.
That's crazy. The threat was about you, and they checked your class last? Ooh, that's sad, man. They don't care nothing about you.
To go through the metal detectors. When we get to the front now, because I still don't know that I actually need to be scared. And so then my students are like, there's a page about the school.
What you mean you don't know if you need to be scared? The fact that there's a potential threat on your life, you should be hyper aware of what's going on. Like, that's a little weird to me that you need to receive concrete evidence that your life is being in jeopardy by a student. That's what I'm talking about, man. Your situation awareness is low as I don't know what. It's low as hell. Even if there was a rumor that someone was coming after me, it's on site. I don't trust nobody. I'm watching all hands, backpacks, pockets. Listen, I wouldn't put nothing past these kids. And the fact that your head is in the clouds is just bothering me.
And like all these different fights and threats, and you're on it for today. They pull it up and they show me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this really is about me. So when we go to the front to get ourselves sent through the metal detectors, I say, I'm not going back to the room with my students. I need to see the principal. I go to the assistant principal's office, and she was like, girl, those threats come a dime a dozen. Don't nobody care about those. These kids ain't gonna do anything. Y'all must not believe that, because we are going through metal detectors, and your parents are starting to pick up their children at this point, which means it has made it to the news. It has made it home to tell parents like, yo, our school is on a lockdown due to a threat on social media about a shooting. You can come get your kids, and you will just have to go through the metal detector. So y'all taking it some kind of serious. Stop playing in my face. The minute that I realized that they were trying to water it down and they wanted me to go back to my classroom and still teach like nothing was wrong.
Not that they wanted you to go back to the school and teach after a lockdown. Boy, that's crazy. Tell me you don't care about me without saying you don't care about me. This is why in all situations you have to look out for yourself. And I pray that you gave that school and that principal your resignation, because there's no way in hell that after you received a threat on your life from not one but two students, that you should have been required to go back in the classroom and teach the class. That's insane. They could at least offered you the day off.
I immediately was like, y'all are going to have to find a sub for the rest of the day. I'm not going back to that classroom. They were like, don't be so dramatic. I go up by my principal. I ask him, I say, were you aware that this whole thing was about me and the other teacher? And he goes, yes, I was.
Not that you gaslight me saying I'm being dramatic. When has it ever been dramatic for somebody to respond to a threat on their life? Y'all let me know down in the comments. I just feel that was extremely insensitive and distasteful by the principal and the staff of that school to say she was being dramatic, that a student was threatening her life on social media. Like I told y'all earlier in the video, I'm up out of there, because it's very clear y'all don't care about me. Y'all don't care about my life. All y'all care about is the kids, baby Pooh Shiesty, gang, YSL, whatever they call themselves. It don't even matter. All you care about is the kids. But guess what? You need teachers to teach the children. And if you have people willing to do the job, even with low pay and resources, it would be nice to show some level of appreciation. That's all I'm saying. With all the things I see teachers have to put up with, including the parents that aren't wrapped too tight, a little appreciation goes a long way.
Aware. I said, okay. I went home that day And then I proceeded not to go back for 3 days, waiting for someone to call me and say, I'm all clear, or we found the students who made the threat or the post. Nothing. Honey, these kids said 0. The teacher said 0. The administration said 0. The district said 0. So I'm like, no one's going to say anything to me? Fine. On day 3, I go up to the district office and I was like, first of all, I want you guys to know I am not willing to use any of my vacation days for this. Y'all need to figure out what the heck is going on at the school building, because somebody posted that. And I want to know who it is, because I want those kids removed from my classroom and reprimanded. The secondary chief of education at the time was completely unaware that any of this had happened, which is wild in itself. But she was completely unaware that any of this even went down. So then I'm like, I don't care if you didn't know. Now you know. What are you going to do about it? Because I'm not going back until it's resolved. She went to the school. She came back about 2 hours later and was like, we found the 2 students. They're being suspended and sent to OSS.
All they get is a suspension for threatening somebody's life? You work at a janky school for real. In my opinion, I thought that type of behavior would warrant an expulsion from school. But they have the proof, they have the evidence that they threatened your life online, and all they got was a suspension? Insane.
Okay, let's say remove. I will contact you so that you can come back. In the meantime, you can call EAP service, because I was traumatized, right? So then I contact UEA. UEA is like, hell no, we're not playing this game. UEA gets involved, and then they hustle their asses to get the kids out of the classroom. Kids get taken out of the room. I go back. These kids are gone for 90 days. Do you know during that 90 days, they still wanted me to make sure that they had schoolwork, that I was grading their assignments. I was like, I'm not grading anything for these children. When their 90 days was up, they just showed back up to school that day. It was Valentine's Day. They just showed back up to school. I was like, what are you, into my classroom? Remember, they never took them off my roster.
Absolutely not. There's no way I would have took those kids back. I'm not sure why you were still there after the threat was received and you saw how your subordinates and your employer were moving to protect you. You should have given your resignation on the first day. Once you found out that there was a threat in your life and they had a very mediocre response, that should have been your last day teaching at that school. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit a like for the algorithm, turn on your notifications. And as I always say, I love you and God loves you. I appreciate you for watching. Do not trust these kids out here. They on demon time. I'm out.